My brother's fiancée never liked me. Not in the dramatic movie villain way at first. She was polite enough when other people were watching, but every compliment had a tiny blade hidden inside it. If I wore a plain black shirt, she said, I love that you don't care what people think. If I drove my old Honda to dinner, she said, it's so refreshing when people aren't materialistic. If my brother mentioned my job, she changed the subject before anyone could ask questions. Her name was Vanessa, and she came from one of those families where everything had to look expensive even when nobody could afford it. Matching outfits for holiday photos. Engagement pictures at a rented mansion. Birthday dinners at restaurants where everyone pretended not to panic when the bill arrived. I am the opposite. I wear the same 5 hoodies, drive a car with a dent in the passenger door, and keep my life private. I work in cybersecurity consulting. I do well, but I learned young that when people know you have money, they stop seeing you and start seeing solutions to their problems. My brother, Caleb, knew that. We were close growing up. He knew I helped our mom with medical bills. He knew I paid off my student loans early. He knew I had enough savings to help him if he ever really needed it. What he did not know was that Vanessa had been quietly telling people I was the embarrassing side of the family. The wedding started as a small thing. Caleb called me 6 months before the date, and I could hear he had been crying. He said the venue they loved required a deposit that week. Vanessa's parents had promised money they suddenly did not have, and he did not want to start his marriage with a huge loan. I asked how much. He said he hated even asking. I told him to send the invoice. At first, I only paid the venue deposit. Then the caterer needed another payment. Then the photographer. Then Vanessa cried because the honeymoon hotel was non-refundable if they did not book immediately. Every time, Caleb called ashamed, and every time I told him the same thing, I can help, but do not tell anyone. Not because I wanted to be mysterious, but because I did not want the wedding to become a performance about my money. Caleb promised. By the end, I had paid for almost everything. Venue, food, photographer, flowers, honeymoon hotel, even the shuttle service for guests. I did not mind. He was my brother, and I wanted him to have one beautiful day without panic. Then, 2 weeks before the wedding, I got a text from my mom. She wrote, "Please don't be upset, but Vanessa thinks it might be better if you don't attend the ceremony." I stared at the message, waiting for the next bubble to explain the joke. Instead, she wrote, she's worried there will be tension, and she wants the pictures to feel cohesive. Cohesive. That was the word that made me laugh out loud in my kitchen. I called my mom. She sounded nervous before I even spoke. I asked what she meant by cohesive. She said Vanessa had a specific aesthetic, and some people were being asked not to come if they could not follow the dress code. I told her I owned a suit. She got quiet. Then she admitted the real reason. Vanessa thought I would make the photos look cheap. Apparently, she had told my brother I gave off sad uncle energy, even though I am only 32. She said I looked like someone who would stand too close to the buffet and ruin the vibe. She said if I came, I needed a rented designer suit, a haircut at the salon she picked, and I should not mention my car or job because it confused her friends. I asked my mom if Caleb agreed. She said, he just wants peace. That sentence did something to me. Not anger exactly. More like a door closing. I asked, does anyone remember who paid for the wedding? My mom immediately said, please don't make this about money. Which was funny, because everyone else had made it about money from the beginning. They just did not know whose money it was. I hung up and called Caleb. He did not answer. I called again. Nothing. Then he texted, can we talk after the honeymoon? Everything is really stressful right now. That was when I realized he knew. He knew I had been uninvited from the wedding I paid for, and he was hoping I would be too quiet or too embarrassed to make a scene. So I called the venue. I was calm. Very calm. The kind of calm that only happens when your feelings have moved out and left a lawyer-shaped ghost behind. I asked the event manager a simple question. If the person who paid cancels the contract, what happens? She pulled up the file and said, since your name and card are on the primary payments, you can release the date. Some deposits are non-refundable, but the services would be cancelled immediately. I asked if she could send that in writing. 5 minutes later, I had the email. I did not cancel anything yet. I wanted to give Caleb one chance to be honest. I texted him, call me in the next hour, or I'm assuming you're okay with what Vanessa told Mom. He called in 12 minutes. He sounded irritated, not sorry. He said Vanessa was overwhelmed. He said I knew how she was about appearances. He said it was just one day. He said I could come to the family brunch the morning after if I really wanted to celebrate. The brunch. I asked, so I'm good enough to fund the wedding but not good enough to be seen at it? He sighed and said, why do you always make things sound harsh? I told him because they were harsh. Then I asked if Vanessa knew I paid. Silence. That silence told me everything. She did not know. Caleb had accepted my money, let his fiancée insult me, agreed to uninvite me, and still had not told her the wedding existed because of me. He wanted my wallet invisible and my body absent. I told him I would give him until morning to tell her the truth and invite me properly, with an apology. Not a fake, sorry you feel that way. A real apology. If not, I would handle the contracts myself. He called me manipulative. He said I was ruining his marriage before it started. He said Vanessa would never forgive him if she found out he hid something that big. I said, that sounds like your problem. The next morning, I woke up to a group chat explosion. Vanessa had found out, but not from Caleb. The venue had emailed both contact addresses to confirm some billing details, and my name was attached to nearly every payment. She demanded to know why that guy was listed as payer. The planner answered honestly. Caleb called me screaming first. Vanessa called me from his phone next. She did not apologize. She said it was inappropriate for me to financially control their wedding. She said normal people give gifts without expecting attention. She said if I canceled anything, I would prove I was jealous of their happiness. I asked her one question. Do you still want me there? She said nothing. Not one word. So I canceled the honeymoon hotel first. That got their attention. Then I canceled the shuttle service. Then the upgraded flower package. Then I called the photographer and explained that I was releasing my payment obligation and they could recontract with the couple directly if they wanted. I did not touch the legal marriage license. I did not stop them from getting married. I simply stopped paying for a production that I was apparently too embarrassing to attend. By noon, Vanessa's mother called me sobbing. By 2, my mom was at my apartment telling me I had gone too far. By dinner, Caleb was begging me to reverse everything because Vanessa's parents could not cover the balance. I told him I would pay for a simple ceremony and dinner if he wanted, but not the luxury wedding where I was hidden like a dirty secret. He said Vanessa would never agree. I said, then marry the aesthetic. The wedding still happened, but not the way they planned. They moved it to a smaller hall. The designer flower wall disappeared. The champagne tower disappeared. The honeymoon became a weekend at a lake 2 hours away. I did not attend. Not because I was banned anymore, but because by then I did not want to. For weeks, the family treated me like I had set the venue on fire. My aunt said I humiliated Vanessa. My mom said I should have been the bigger person. Caleb sent me one message after the wedding, "Hope it was worth it." I did not reply. 3 months later, he came to my apartment alone. He looked thinner. He said Vanessa still brought it up every time they fought. He said she could not get over being embarrassed. He said he realized too late that she cared more about how the wedding looked than who was standing beside her. I asked if he came to apologize or ask for money. He cried. That was my answer. I told him I loved him, but I was done being useful only in secret. If he wanted a brother, I was here. If he wanted a bank account, I was closed. Now some relatives say I punished everyone over a dress code insult. But that is not what happened. I was not uninvited because of a scheduling mistake or a guest limit. I was uninvited because the bride thought I looked too poor for the wedding I was paying for, and my brother let her. So am I wrong for canceling the expensive parts after they uninvited me? Or did they cancel my obligation the second they decided my money was welcome but I was not?